and it's a mess. While it's great that sports can be watched and that most of them are televised, I just felt that I had to talk about the sheer amount of options that sports fans have nowadays. It's bordering on absurd. When there's a weekly schedule, we stand a chance. But when it's the NBA playoffs, good luck. Let's start with the NBA. It's been a fun playoff, a great start to the NBA Finals, and with this means that ESPN is going to overreact to every little thing, every loss, and try and discuss whose legacy has been most affected by throwing a pass off your teammate's back, for instance. But it also means trying to figure out where a game is going to be broadcast on a daily basis. So the regular season is formulaic and actually fairly easy for fans to pick up on the pattern. We'll start with NBC and Peacock. It's their first year back in the broadcasting NBA. They get Mondays and Tuesdays. They wouldn't dare put this on a Wednesday because then it messes with Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, Chicago PD. I mean, as you can see, NBC clearly has a plan for Chicago, which is kind of funny because the Chicago Bulls front office hasn't even had a plan for Chicago for years. ESPN and ABC, this is about as positive as I'll get about these networks today. They're going to be talked about throughout this video, so stay tuned. They have Wednesdays and Fridays, and then they have Saturday afternoons and Saturday primetime. And in case you didn't know the difference between the afternoon and the primetime slots, the afternoon is essentially 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. where you're not asleep, but you probably should be doing other work that's more beneficial to you or your house. And then the primetime slot is 8 to 11 p.m. where the older you get, you're starting to think you probably should be getting to bed instead of watching these games. But of course, we end up watching the game. Lastly, Prime Video, they've also recently joined the arena of broadcasting NBA games. And so before the start of a new calendar year, they're going to be primarily hosting the legendary trophy that was formerly known as the NBA Cup games. Those are on Fridays. Now it's known as the insert company willing to spend most money NBA Cup. Then when it's the start of a new year, it becomes a free-for-all for Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So that's where you are going to get a little more complexity. Let's talk about the playoff schedule because this is really where we're going to start getting a little more complex. For the most part, it does mirror the days of the week pattern, but unfortunately it doesn't completely mirror it, and that's actually what makes me even more confused. So then you take a look, if it's not going to be days in the week, is it going to be potentially series-based? That is a definite no. The series are going to absolutely get sprinkled all the different broadcasting networks. We're just trying to be fair to everyone that wanted to watch the Thunder beat the shit out of the Lakers in round 2. NBC Sports Network, or NBCSN, also got into this. We're just adding another channel to this already absurd amount. The playoffs you can split into 2 halves. The first half, tough. Second half, they actually make it super easy. The Western Conference Finals was all on NBC and Peacock. Eastern Conference Finals all on ESPN or ABC. And then the NBA Finals all on ABC. While the NBA broadcasting schedule is a bit of a mess, the NHL's is a little bit easier, but that doesn't mean that you won't run into trouble. Part of the ease with the NHL schedule is that it's limited to ESPN or ABC and then TNT. Part of me is wondering if the ease of finding these games is what's really elevating hockey to reach new demographics and ultimately just an increase in viewership. It's been a lot of fun to watch. Some of the most random celebrities ever put together, and why is Ninja in this? The biggest problem primarily with the playoff broadcasting has actually been when games go long and have to go into overtime. Typically, if you rely on a cable provider or Hulu TV or perhaps YouTube TV as well, they have that set schedule, but they can't adapt on the fly. And so more often than not, it's going to show what the current game is meant to be. But because that previous game is running long, you're not getting correct information. More often than not, though, you're going to run into a commercial. You wait for 2 or 3 minutes. You sit on your phone. Before you know it, you're shown 15 minutes of an intermission left, and that the other game is now on TNT, TBS, or God forbid, True TV. This problem is also apparent when you're moving between ESPN, ESPN2, and ABC. In my case, I was watching a blowout on ESPN, so I'm saying I'm going to switch over to this next game on ESPN2. They're going to be there for 5 minutes before switching back over to ESPN when that time comes. Before you know it, my wife's asked me, what the hell are we watching? And it turns out the game had flipped, and all of a sudden I'm watching the Savannah Bananas. Watching Savannah Bananas, not quite what I was going for, but it was worthwhile. I mean, I got to see a bunch of athletes dance in a way that was much more coordinated than a Corbin Bleu jump shot, for instance. Plus, I learned that they have banana rules, which is kind of cool. It was a lot different from the banana rules I learned in school. I think ours were get consent before use, pinch the tip, and abstinence is the best, or safest. As you may have seen in hockey, whether it be from your own interest or perhaps from Ninja converting you to the fandom, it's definitely increasing its popularity among the general sports population, so long as we're not having to watch the American players interact with Kash Patel too often. Part of that is the before mentioned ease of finding these games. Baseball, on the other hand, they're taking more of the NBA approach, we'll say. Now, MLB executives are thrilled. They're going to have a lot more money to sit on, and it has the intended consequence of ultimate viewer confusion. Baseball's got a heck of a national schedule itself, one that rivals NBA in absurdity. We've got NBC and Peacock joining in baseball as well, so they're really getting back into the sports game. They have the Sunday leadoff and the Sunday afternoon games. Apple TV, they have a Friday night baseball doubleheader, which sounds like a fantastic way to spend a Friday night. TBS has weeknight games. It's just weeknight games. I couldn't tell you which weeknights they are. TBS can't either, as far as I'm aware, but you may stumble across a random game on TBS on a weeknight. Fox and Fox Sports 1, I can't believe it's the first time I'm mentioning them. They have Saturday regional games and national games. So I don't know when they're going to be regional. I don't know when they're going to be national. I just know they're on Saturdays. Netflix, they've got the Home Run Derby. They had opening night. They were probably the only broadcasting partner ever to consider Barry Bonds joining their show. And then they've special events. I don't know what a special event's going to be. It might be the celebrity softball game. I really don't know. It can't be a weeknight because that's TBS's terrain. And then we've got ESPN. We're back to them. They can't help themselves, really. They're home to exclusive regular season matchups, which includes Sunday Night Baseball. So NBC, fuck you. They're home to the best Sunday game. And this is a big deal because it can be really tough to have the exclusive talk. While we're on the worldwide leader of sports, let's talk about what ESPN is offering in baseball. For the hardcore fans out there, ESPN's the new home to MLB TV, which means that you have access to watch any of the baseball games on any particular day, except the ones closest to where you live. And it won't be necessarily one team you're missing out on. It might be 2, 3, hell, even I have 4 blackouts where I live. And I'd love, I'll put the link below. Take a look, put your zip code in or put any in. Let's see if we can find who gets the most blackouts in this country, because I think 4 can be beat. Their intentions are for you to be able to watch teams that are further away from where you live. But it's as if we're living in a world, according to them, where we check the newspaper for scores and we wait for a train with a W flag flying on it to know if the Cubs won. And I love how I periodically get emails from MLB TV, which is now, of course, from ESPN as well. And they'll tell me, hey, this is the perfect time to join, 25% off, as if like 25% of the season has already gone by. Like, don't tell me you're giving me a good deal. Jesus Christ. And as I've been exploring ESPN's options, I've come across something called ESPN Unlimited, which I had no fucking idea what this was. So here's a very clear overview. I mean, as clear as my glasses in my last video. Geez, these aren't even clear. Unbelievable. ESPN Unlimited gives customers access to all ESPN flagship networks, studio shows, and full ESPN Plus coverage, which makes sense because their mission statement is to serve sports fans anytime, anywhere for $29.99 a month. They can't do anything right. Then there's a second plan, which is called ESPN Select, and users of this plan get exclusive digital live events, out-of-market games, and on-demand content, which in parentheses, they say essentially the legacy ESPN Plus tier. So ESPN Unlimited gives you complete ESPN Plus coverage, but ESPN Plus is now technically ESPN Select, so why are they still using the ESPN Plus verbiage? Another confusing option is MLB Network. I mean, the content is simple enough. Morning shows talking about baseball, highlights that are actually showing me baseball games and are much more fun than anything SportsCenter's shown for 10 years, and random games that appear out of nowhere. I mean, frankly, this gives me the baseball fix I need to not make it necessary for me to subscribe to MLB TV. But I mean, the good thing, I think by the time this video comes out, it'll now be 33% off. So I better start looking at my email inbox. So basically, it's an amazing time to be a sports fan. You can practically find a game any day of the week. How you find it might make you go mad, but if we all get admitted into an institution, at least ESPN said they can serve us sports anytime, and anywhere. Thank you very much for watching. I enjoy making these. I'm trying to get a little bit better each time. And if you want to be able to watch more, I think I've got some good ones for you. Over here is going to be about maybe one of the dumbest decisions MLB has ever made in the history of baseball. And then over here, I'm just talking about my general thoughts in baseball as a whole. Again, really appreciate you joining, and I'll catch you later.